Welcome back, everybody. Bill Knapp here, your Denver-based realtor, coming to you today to talk about an important place, one of my favorite neighborhoods in Colorado being Greenwood Village, and what you can expect if you're considering a move to the area. I'm going to break down all the costs that you can expect as a new homeowner coming up next. So Greenwood Village, if you're not familiar, by the way, I did release a video prior to this one about why it's one of my favorite subdivisions in the Denver metro area. If you're curious to learn about that one, just click the box up here below. That'll link you to that video. Quick recap for your baseline information. Greenwood Village is a top 5 out of 10 rated city for the entire state of Colorado to live in. And it is also considered one of the safest communities to live in, which makes it one of my favorite locations. Now, for your reference, if you're not familiar where Greenwood Village is located in the actual Denver metro area, it's kind of southeast of the Denver area, but only just so. It's only about a half an hour away from basically everything, which makes it centrally located and super optimal for a lot of different people. Also, if you're not familiar, Greenwood Village houses the Denver Tech Center, a lot of fine dining, shops, boutiques, really nice luxury neighborhoods, and some amazing schools, which is a big attractor for people coming into the area. And as a result, Greenwood Village is also considered a very affluent community, which does have an impact on its pricing. Now, with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump into the costs that you can expect if you're considering a move into this area as a new homeowner. Now, for your baseline information, if you were to compare the cost of living in Greenwood Village against that of the national average across the entire continental US, Greenwood Village comes in at 205%, which means it is more than double the cost of living in Greenwood Village compared to the average places of living across the US, which matches with the fact that it is an affluent community. So what does that mean for you if you're considering purchasing and or renting in the area? The biggest cost that you can expect with Greenwood Village is absolutely going to be the housing. The housing in Greenwood Village has everything you might want, from luxury communities to single family homes, townhomes, senior living, condominiums, and flats. Well, the median home price, whether it's a townhome, single family home, condo, etc., across the entire Greenwood Village area, the median cost is $1.3 million. Breaking that down a little bit further, if you go into a single family home, you can expect on average to pay well over the median cost, because that is $1.9 million, which will get you into approximately a 4-bed, 4-bath home with about 4,500 to 5,000 square feet or so. Now, if you go into a townhome, you can expect to pay around $530,000 on the lowest end. But being honest and transparent, you're likely going to be paying closer to about $600,000 to $900,000, because there's a lot more of the nicer townhomes than there are the entry-level townhomes in Greenwood Village. Now, if you're going into condominiums, you can expect to start at a price of about $445,000, which is only a 1-bed, 1-bath unit, which may be a flat or maybe an actual condo in a condominium complex. And your square footage in there will range about 500 square feet or so, upwards to about 900 square feet. And there will be an additional cost with that, which I'll get into in a minute, which that is the HOAs. Now, before I jump into HOAs, I really want to quickly touch on what you can expect as far as property taxes. Colorado is one of the lowest state taxes in the entire US, which is great. We're at 0.51%. But that doesn't necessarily help when you have a really expensive property and a really affluent community. So for your general baseline reference, if you were to purchase a property either in the $400,000 to $800,000 price point range, your property taxes will likely range between $2,800 per year upwards to about $3,500 or so per year. Now, if you go higher into some of those more luxury categories, being the 2.5 million plus, your property taxes are going to vary based on the amount of square footage you have in your property, and I've seen them go anywhere from $6,000 a year all the way up to as high as $36,000 per year for a $7.75 million home. So it's very important that you take a close look at each property and what you can expect with your property taxes to make sure it all fits in your purchasing budget. Another factor when purchasing in this neighborhood will be the insurance that you'll have to put on your property, Colorado being in the hail belt and also subject to some inclement weather. Insurance is not too bad for the most part. Depending on the size of your property though, if you have a larger property with a larger yard, your insurance can possibly go much higher, especially if the roof is older or if the building itself or the foundation is a little bit older. Anything that the insurance can do to put their prices up, they'll find a way to do so. So it's very important that you check all of those factors when doing your purchase. Which brings me into my next point. Doing your due diligence when buying in this area is super important, and a good realtor will help advise you on if a property or a complex has a homeowners association or an HOA, and the associated costs that come with that association. Quick reference, all HOAs are independently owned and operated and not all the same, even a little bit. So you may have something in one HOA that you definitely will not have at another. So you can't count on them for everything across the board. It's very important to do your reading and your due diligence when you look into what each HOA offers for the cost. Now, for your reference, the starting lowest HOA I found in Greenwood Village, it goes for about $160 a month, which doesn't cover very much. Just basic ground maintenance and I believe garbage. Now, some of the complexes and some of the actual neighborhoods have higher HOAs at the $300 to $500 a month, which covers a fair amount more, and it's really variable as far as what those coverages include, but typically it will be stuff like water and sewer and ground maintenance if you have a complex, or it'll be some of the landscaping. And I've seen them go as high as $1,200 a month for the very expensive landmark tower, condominiums, flats, and penthouses, which is an exorbitant fee, but it covers a tremendous amount, too much for me to cover in this video. So moral of the story is check into your HOA before you actually make your purchase. Now at this point you may be questioning, what do you get as far as your return on investment when you purchase a home of this caliber, especially in such a desirable neighborhood? And the great news on that front is you can expect very nice appreciation. So for your general reference, from 2019 to 2022, the appreciation, specifically Greenwood Village, went up by 40%, which is not sustainable, but it's completely amazing if you have been a resident during that time. Now, could it stay that way? No, not likely, but 2022 to 2023 appreciation was showing at about 8%, which means the Greenwood Village area has stayed very strong, resilient against the different changes in the market shifts, and I project, just my personal opinion here, that it will stay that way going forward, primarily because of its diversification of homes, all the great schools, amenities, shopping, etc., and the central location within the Denver metro area. Plus, as Denver continues to grow, proximity to where you are into the city will create increasing demand to be closer to these amenities. Therefore, law of shrinking, diminishing returns, the closer you are to the city, the more valuable chances are your property will be, especially if you have a single family home that has a yard like you can find in Greenwood Village. Now, real quick, as I'm talking through this stuff, I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. If you have questions or would like me to go into further detail on any of these pieces at all, do me a favor, leave me a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can on the channel, or give me a call, text, or email. My details will be listed below here. Also, if you're finding anything I say here helpful or relevant to your current search, I'd really appreciate then if you would hit the like button, subscribe possibly, and then the bell notification. That way you can stay up to speed every single time I release one of these videos. Now, outside of home ownership, there are several other costs to consider with living in the Greenwood Village area, and maybe you're not ready to purchase, especially when the purchase prices are this high. So great news is there are lots of rental opportunities in and throughout the Greenwood Village area. Quick sidebar before I go into the rental details, I do not specifically work in rentals per my brokerage rules and regulations. However, I do have several great property managers that I can plug you into should you have that as an interest. Just reach out to me again and I will make sure to get that information to you as soon as I can. So overall, being in Greenwood Village, you can expect your rents to be unfortunately a little bit on the high side, mostly because of all that it includes inside of the area and because it's so centrally located. But for your general reference, when looking to rent in the area, you can expect to pay approximately around $3,500 or so when renting a single family home, which will include roughly a 3 to 4 bedroom house with 3 to 4 baths. Most of these homes will also have yards and access to all the different amenities. If you're looking at townhomes in the Greenwood Village area for rent, you can expect to pay on average around $2,800 or so, which will include a 2-bed and 3-bath on most of these places. Sometimes you might get yourself into a 3-bed, 3-bath townhome, but at $2,800, it's not likely. You'll probably be paying north of $3,000. Still, it's just for your general reference that the pricing is relatively affordable compared to some other locations. And if you're looking at condominiums for a 1-bed, 1-bath, or a 1-bed, 2-bath, you can expect to pay on average about $1,900, depending on the amenities included with the condominium, the style, shape, size, and where it's located in the city. So outside of the housing costs and renting costs and insurance and etc., the next cost you can expect with Greenwood Village are what I call miscellaneous or various costs. And the second most expensive cost for living in Greenwood Village is actually your own personal preference costs. And based on betterplaces.net, the personal preference costs being your shopping, your entertainment, your food, your repairs that you do, or your improvements to your home, on a national scale of 100%, Greenwood Village ranks at 156%, meaning that it's 56% more expensive to live, recreate, shop, and do repairs compared to the national average. And there are a lot of reasons for that. Some of it is just keeping up with the Joneses because these homes are fantastic. Some of the most beautiful homes we have in the Denver metro area, bar none. Also, the shopping, the dining, the boutique-y areas, there's a lot of draw to this location. It's almost on par with what I would consider like Cherry Hills Village and then like Cherry Creek area. It's very, very like bougie. It has a very amazing affluent feel to it, and it just has like this special neatness to it. So it makes sense that you'd spend more there. Plus, dollar per capita, being with the Denver Tech Center and the amount of steakhouses and nice high-end restaurants, it makes a lot of sense that people come here for nice nights out, especially if it's business, casual, or some kind of a date night scenario. Now, a much more affordable and sometimes even free cost will be your schools. And the school district here is fantastic. It's split between Cherry Creek and Littleton schools. Both are very top-rated, amazing school districts, so there's no going wrong here. The public school side is fantastic. They have an amazing rating on niche.com. It's one of the more sought-after locations, which actually helps the return on your investment for these properties. Or you can go with the different route, being magnet schools, charter schools, private schools, etc., which carries an expensive price tag, which is okay because some people in these areas can afford that without really worrying about it. So, and if it's best for your kiddo, it's a great possibility. So depending on what the school you're looking for is, they will have it there. It just comes with a cost if you go outside of the public school system. For those of you in the public school system, like myself, there are additional costs. The schooling is included in your taxes. However, if your kiddo is involved in any of the various clubs, you will have ancillary costs. And I know that they can be about a couple $100 or so per club. If you have ice hockey, lacrosse, it might be closer to $1,000. If you're a mountain biker, you are definitely over $1,000 because mountain bikings are really expensive, but we have amazing trails. So you want to put your kid on probably one of the better bikes for safety handling and just, you know, amazing cool features. Now, the next cost is actually a bit of a surprise, being your utilities. And compared to the national average, Greenwood Village is actually lower than the national. It's at 96%, meaning it's 4% more affordable for your utilities in Greenwood Village. How and why? My best guess is because people are using smart thermometers, solar power, smart lights, LEDs, etc., and that will really cut down on your gas and your electric, etc. So your cost for utilities should be pretty manageable. Keep in mind, it will be commensurate with the size of your property. So if you have a giant mansion, your cost will be a lot more than somebody that has an average single family home at about 3,000 square feet. So overall though, it's much more affordable than the national average. Now for the more basic things like cable, phone, and internet, you can expect those prices to go up or down based on whatever plan, subscription, or streaming you choose, but generally you can expect about $145 for a single phone line with one of any of the major carriers. Cable out here is pretty decent. A lot of people go with either Comcast or Xfinity, or they'll go a different route like DirecTV. Those packages are always moving, and if you're a new customer, you get these great deals. So that can kind of vacillate between about $105 to $220, depending if you go for the movie channels or not. Then on to the water bill. Water bills are really, really interesting out here, being a landlocked state. In general, we do pretty well, but it is tied to the amount of available water we have, precipitation, amount of water we have in our reservoirs, and then the snow melt. So larger properties with more grass and big sprinkler systems, your water bill goes up. If you have a condominium townhome or a smaller general yard, your water bill's not too bad. You can expect a couple $100, $60 to $80 to $90 on average. If you have a big yard, I've heard water bills with sprinklers going 3 times a week can go in the range of about $1,000 per month just for sprinklers. So just, you know, keep that in consideration when looking at the different places. And I always harp on this one because we are a pet-friendly, animal-friendly, big dog, big cat take your pick kind of state, your veterinarian bills. Veterinarian bills in the Greenwood Village area can go up or down depending on what kind of animal you have and also what kind of vet you go to, but on general, you can expect to pay about $65 for a wellness check if you're gonna get your shots, your immunizations, etc. Most of those are going at about $150 per visit, spay, neuters, etc. It depends on the clinic and the veterinarian you're working with. Next up, this one is actually not a necessary cost. This is one of those that you can elect to go into, which would be your state and your federal park passes. And for your general reference, because you are so close to Cherry Creek Reservoir being in Greenwood Village, most people do elect to get that state pass, and that's only about $80 or so. That gets you into all the state parks, which is fantastic, especially being so close to the water, the trails, the open space, and the scenic mountain views. You're also not far from Chatfield Reservoir and Chatfield State Park. Completely worth it in my opinion for that $80, especially if you're a stand-up paddler or if you like to join and go out on boats, or if you just want some beach time in Colorado, even though we're landlocked. The beaches there are pretty decent. It's just a way to get to see the water in the middle of the summer. And finally, you have your ski passes, your lift passes, etc. to get onto the various mountains we have here, and there are a bunch of options. But for your general reference, we have two major passes that most people know about. You can find them on snow.com or Epic Pass or Icon Pass. The Epic Pass and the Icon Pass are the two major ones that are separating the different mountains. Gives you annual passes to go skiing and also snowboarding, or if you're going to do mountain biking, etc. These pass prices have gone through the roof in recent years. When I first moved here, they were about $250 or so. Now, as of today's shooting, the starting point for these passes is $950, with the other pass being, Icon Pass being about $1,200 or so for the entire year. So if you're a family of 4, you might want to budget for that, and that does not include the cost of getting any of your gear, your rentals, the gas up, the gas back, if you're staying up there, etc. But the mountains are awesome, and I highly recommend it. And that hopefully will give you a good idea of what you can expect for cost of living in the Greenwood Village area. Kind of a 30,000 foot view down. This was definitely going to be different depending on where you're looking in the area, the size of home, etc. But this should be a great baseline analysis for you just to get you started. Again, if I said anything along the lines of doing this video that you found helpful or that you have questions about, or if I didn't cover something that you would like me to cover, do me a favor, leave me a comment below. I will respond to you, or contact me via call, text, or email. I'm really good about getting back to you as fast as I can. Also, please, if you could help me out, if you like anything I said, hit that like, subscribe, and bell notification. It really helps me out in getting more views, and it also keeps you synced with me every time I release a video. Again, my name is Bill Knapp. I'm a licensed realtor here in the Denver metro area. If you'd like to see about working with me, I'm happy to jump on a Zoom call or a chat. Just contact me at any point and we'll get that set up. Thank you as always for sticking around to the end, and I'll see you all on the next one. Cheers.